actually, it's not the verses that are in a different order. It's different order for the New Testament books. And here's the interesting thing about the New Testament. Before we had the codex form, our modern book form, which was really invented in the middle of the first century AD, and it was Christians who used this for the first 5 centuries of the Christian era. 94% of all Christian books were written on a codex. The original New Testament manuscripts were all written on a scroll, though. And it took 500 years before the rest of the ancient world caught up with Christians. So it was our first and probably only time where we were actually ahead of the technological curve. But the codex is what allowed for more pages in a particular manuscript. The scroll could only hold one gospel, for example. It could not hold 2. Once the codex form gets invented, and all of our New Testament manuscripts, all of our copies from the 2nd century on are written on a codex, you could start putting in more than one gospel. You could put in 4 gospels. You could even put the whole New Testament in, even the whole Bible in some 4th and 5th century manuscripts. So that codex created an issue. What should the order of the books be? Well, we think of the Gospels as Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That wasn't the oldest order. It was Matthew, John, Luke, and Mark that we have found in our earliest manuscripts. And it was in an order of the apostles first. What about Paul's letters? And what about Paul's letters in relationship to the Gospels or relationship to Acts or Revelation? In one manuscript from the 9th century, Paul's letters comes at the end of the New Testament, after the book of Revelation. But we have Paul's letters right after Acts in later manuscripts. But we now have a published Greek New Testament called the Nestle All-in 29 and the United Bible Society's Greek Text 6th edition that are just came out last year and this year. Those Greek New Testaments, the standard critical editions, have Acts and then the general letters, and then Paul's. I think that follows the one of the oldest orders we know of for these letters, for the New Testament books. That means that Paul's letters are going to be in a different locale in English translations coming down the pike. I don't know when. I'm on the NIV translation committee, and I think it's too early to propose this as a change for the next iteration of the NIV. But within Paul's letters, we also have a number of arrangements. We have Romans. Everybody knows that's the first Pauline letter, and that is true for all of our manuscripts. Hebrews came second in some of the oldest ones. Hebrews also came after 2nd Thessalonians in our earliest manuscripts. So almost 100 manuscripts have Hebrews at the end of the letters to churches and before the letters to individuals, 1st and 2nd Timothy and Titus, and then Philemon. So it's the order of these New Testament books.